Greetings and welcome to God's Unchanging Word, to our news, nuggets, and insights for Friday, October 7th. Before I actually get into the information we want to bring to you this week, I want to remind everyone about the Hurricane Matthew that's heading up toward the East Coast. We're actually taping our program just a few days early, so I'm not really sure where it's going to be at by the time you get this on Friday morning. But it doesn't look good right now, and it's one of the most powerful hurricanes they've seen in the last 10 to 15 years. So please keep everyone in their prayers, keep the brethren in your prayers, and pray for our feast sites, including ours, because all along the East Coast, many of the churches of God are keeping the feast in various parts of the country along the East Coast, including ours, which is in Myrtle Beach and Williamsburg. So stay in touch with the news, keep everyone in your prayers. And if anything happens or we have to make any changes, we'll be sending out more email alerts. But by all means, please keep in touch. Now, this week we were on the road again. We were up in Chattanooga, Tennessee with our Whitwell congregation, and we were doing our 15-year reunion. We had a great weekend. We did a little toast. We praised God for a celebration. For some news that I'm not going to tell you today, I'm going to share it with everyone at the Feast of Tabernacles this year. Some really, really exciting news for our church and for the congregation. Now, while we were there, we were able to travel just a little ways to Dayton, Tennessee. And in Dayton, Tennessee, they had in 1925 one of the most important court cases the country had ever seen. It was called the monkey trials. So what we've done in our TV special, we were focusing on that date, 1925, and it just so happened since we were visiting the congregation, we were actually in the city doing some paperwork and filing at the courthouse where the monkey trials were actually being held. So we've got two video clips. The first one I'm going to bring to you where Jeff has put together some pictures and some video and actually a soundtrack from 1925 where they were mocking the monkey trials back in 1925. So let me play that first, and then I'm going to come back and tell you about the congregation in Chattanooga.
Many theories are spent on the origin of man. Some can trace our name to the family tree, but for me I'm content with the blessed Bible plan, and you can't make a monkey out of me. You can't make a monkey out of me. Oh no. You can't make a monkey out of me. No, no, I am human through and through. All my aunts and uncles too. And you can't make a monkey out of me. No. You can't make a monkey out of me. No, no, I am human through and through. All my aunts and uncles too. And you can't make a monkey out of me. You can't make a monkey out of me. Oh no. You can't make a monkey out of me. No, no, I am human through and through. All my aunts and uncles too. And you can't make a monkey out of me.
Sometimes it's difficult to determine where you begin your fall as a nation. When we began the research in the Constitutional Christian, our research brought us right here in Tennessee. It was known 91 years ago as the Scopes trial and was portrayed by the news media as the monkey trials. So when we began this research, what we found is that through this trial, and even though Christianity won its case, it laid the foundation to break the very first commandment of God by allowing another God to come in, and it was called evolution. And through this breakdown of our foundation of our nation, we see today that God has been eliminated from God, from schools, from our courthouses, and from our teaching. And today, what is being taught is evolution, and God is out of the picture. On this spot, 91 years ago, in this courthouse, standing right here behind me. All right, welcome back. Welcome back. Now, what I want to do now is I want to share with you a little clip of some of the news that we were sharing with the Whitwell congregation in Tennessee, and it was about news, nuggets, and insights, and about the TV special that we're working on, The Constitutional Christian. So it's about 6 minutes long, and as soon as you see that, I'll be right back, and we're going to wrap this session up for News Nuggets and Insights for this week. So we did a thing we started called News Nuggets and Insights. So we didn't even have a name for it, so a few weeks ago we started doing this. And the reason we wanted to name it this way, actually Audrey came up with the name. We were all picking names, what to use. And what I liked about that was it wasn't a sermon message. It was every week on Fridays. It will come out, a person gets home from work on a Friday, going into the Sabbath day. We want to gear them into the Sabbath day by going to the website. And on that website, we want to give them something that's going to encourage, uplift, and enlighten. So News, Nuggets, and Insights. So the first one we ever did was just a few weeks ago, is when we found out that they had actually chosen a high priest in Jerusalem. I don't know if everybody saw that or not. I said, wow, this is big news. I said, this is going to be a real problem. So we told a little story, and these things are 5-10 minutes long. That's all they are. We'll tell a story. We might feature a sermon that week. But also, because it's News, Nuggets, and Insights, and it's just not a sermon type of message, we'll have women who can be talking to other women about things they can do in the church. We'll be talking about youth and programs for the youth that we want to develop. In other words, it becomes a tool that people can use to help grow in certain, and it doesn't cost us anything to do that. All it takes is you go to the website, and we'll show you, they put in your email address, and you're done. No one ever calls you. No one ever bothers you. We never aggravate you asking for money. But it's just a tool that we can use, so we're going to do that. So now, this week, our News, Nuggets, and Insights is being brought from here. Last week, just to give you a little update, we were in Dallas. And we were filming David Barton for our TV special, The Constitutional Christian. And he had a library up there with over 100,000 documents, most of them before 1812. Many original documents, Bibles, artifacts from the founders of this nation. So when we went up to interview him, he went and pulled out a whole pile of books and stuff, and they'd taken them out of cellophane wrap. And these are original books, Bibles owned by the founders of this nation. So as we're talking about the Constitution of Christian, he's got these original documents that we're doing. So we did a News, Nuggets, and Insights from his library. So this week we're talking about you guys. And it's going to be out next Friday. Because yesterday, one of the things we did where we went and signed the paperwork, we went over to the courthouse where they had the monkey trials and the scoop trials. And we did some filming pieces because that's going to be in the TV special that's coming out in November. And so it didn't dawn on me until 2 days before we came up here, and I said, Dayton, 1925. I said, hey, that's in our TV special. So I called Jeff. I said, Jeff, you ain't going to believe this. I said, the key points of David Barton and Governor Mike Huckabee, because I don't know if you've seen it yet, but we actually interviewed Governor Mike Huckabee in our special also. And we were talking about 1925 and the Scopes trials, and how that began to bring in another God that was allowed into this nation, and how that began to crumble whether we realized it or not. And so we were over there filming and to celebrate, and in the meantime, God's given us work to do while we're coming up here and had no idea. I said, wow, this is great. Now, I don't know about you, but I get chills when I see stuff like that. And so we were actually going to Philadelphia. Tell you another story. We're going to Philadelphia. Actually, we were going to somewhere in New Jersey, and we normally fly into New York and stay with the family up there when we visit. Well, the family had problems, and they couldn't get us in this time. So I called the host. I said, where do you think I should fly into? He says, fly into Philadelphia. It's a lot closer. So, wow, Philadelphia, that's the beginning of our special. So we fly in to go visit brethren. We go to Philadelphia. So we film in Philadelphia around the Liberty Bell and in the Constitutional Hall. So it ties right into the special. And so I'm thinking, well, this has got to be God's divine intervention. Either I'm the luckiest guy in the world. So I think God's hands is in it. So when you see those things and you trust God and you work, it's just like He opens doors for you when you least expect it. Now my rambling comes to a point. If you keep focusing on God, when you least expect it, He's going to open a door. When you least expect it. I picked the phone up a few weeks ago, and they had this excited lady who had left a message. And the last message was, she's just all excited about the DVD. She can't wait. Have somebody call me back. So I called her back, and I said, well, where do you live? She lives right up here. And I said, wow. And she says, I said, well, I like to ask her, well, how did you find out about us? And she said, well, it's the funniest thing. I was at a garage sale, and they had this table with a group of Christians there. That was you all. And they're giving away all this stuff. And she said, I just loaded it up. That's the way she's talking. I just loaded it up. And she said, I got home and I looked at this stuff. This stuff is really good. And I made my son come in and watch this stuff. She said, I looked on the back. I just want to see if these people are still around. So she called up and she said, send me whatever you've got. I think that lady one day is going to be in this church. So I called Rachel and Jeremy and said, you're not going to believe this, but I want you to share because you guys are the ones who did that. So you just don't ever know. Sometimes God wants you to struggle first to see if your heart's in it before He blesses you. He's not going to cast His blessings to the swine. And so sometimes when you go through trials, you're being tested. And if you're being tested, it's for a reason, that God can bless you. All right, well, that about wraps it up. That wraps it up this week. And actually, this is the last live news nuggets and insights that we're doing before the Feast of Tabernacles. Next week, in Wednesday, is the Day of Atonement. And after the Day of Atonement, many people are already heading out to the Feast of Tabernacles. So next Friday, what we're going to do is we're going to send out a reminder for the Feast of Tabernacles. We'll put up all the information in case you can't make it or you live out of country and you've been viewing this, where you can actually view two of the websites, the feast sites, where we'll be keeping the Feast of Tabernacles that we're going to broadcast live. So if you can't make it to the feast, you definitely won't be left out. So stay tuned next week for all that information. And if we don't see you before then, you'll have a great Feast of Tabernacles, and we'll see you when we get back with God's unchanging word for news, nuggets, and insights.